é que o Sol, ele nasce no leste normal, né? Como em todo lugar. E ele morre no oeste. Só que aqui, devido à nossa posição geográfica, a gente está bem no polo sul. Vocês podem observar que ele vai nascer ali, ele vai correr e vai morrer atrás dessa montanha. Porque não é igual aí no Brasil, por exemplo, que ele passa, quando dá meio-dia, ele passa sobre as nossas cabeças, né? Aqui não, ele passa bem paralelo ali, ó. Então a gente consegue ver. É mais uma curiosidade aqui da Antártica. Bem legal aí mostrar pro pessoal, para vocês aí que de repente não tem oportunidade. Mas é uma curiosidade muito interessante. Tá? Grande abraço.
Struggling to understand scripture? Overwhelmed by so many interpretations? The whole family can easily learn through color-coded context. This study guide helps connect scripture through context. Color-coded themes. Cross-referenced related passages. Also color-coded bullets to find literary context.
Hello my friends, hope you are doing fine today. Well, I have decided to make this video since I've been seeing people talking about an experiment that they are planning to do in Antarctica at the end of the year called the Final Experiment. Being from South America, I never heard of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. But I decided to take a look in some footage from the Brazilian research station in Antarctica. Brazil has had presence in Antarctica that dates back 40 years ago. They have a permanent research station and they have 2 remote temporary stations. So I decided to search for records, videos, articles, anything that I could find that could help me and find anything concerning this 24-hour sun in Antarctica. I had several videos dating back 1970s, 80s, 90s, but not of a good quality, and nothing much was said on those videos. Sometimes the entire video was dedicated to talking about how they found a fungus in Antarctica, or a small animal, a small creature that was never seen in other continents before. Nothing about a 24-hour sun. So when I started my research, I decided to look at anything prior to 2014, 2015, when the discussion Flat Earth, Global Earth started. My priority was to find old videos, old articles, and old anything about this. It was then that I came across this video from 2000 and 2011. This is from the Brazilian website, and that agency, INPE, it's what is considered to be the Brazilian version of NASA, the Instituto Nacional of Pesquisa Espacial. Modular Criosfera 1 is inaugurated in Antarctica. they inaugurated back 2011. So they documented here on the Brazilian website January 12th, 2012. And it's talking about this group of researchers who had arrived in Antarctica December 17, 2011. So definitely I thought that I could find something in their footage that would give us some clues about a possible 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Now, the article talks about where they were positioned. They were at 84 degrees south. There says when they were supposed to leave. So the article was written in the middle of the mission. It was written January 12th, and they were supposed to stay in Antarctica for another 7 to 10 days before returning to the Chilean city of Punta Arenas. You have the date, 22nd January, when they plan to arrive back in the Chilean city of Punta Arenas. So you have there when they arrived in Antarctica, they were at 84 degrees south. December 17th, 2011. Well, they spent about 34 days in that station, and incredibly, they don't have a lot of footage. What I could find in the interviews I watched, they talked frivolous things, nothing really that is interesting. Here you have them posing for the picture in front of the Criosfera 1, their container where they were supposed to stay there for 30 days. They traveled from the permanent Brazilian station called Commandant Ferraz, 2,500 kilometers. From there, after arriving by plane, they went another 600 kilometers, about 400 miles, I believe southeast from where they were. They had planned to go back in 2015 when they were supposed to open a second research station called Criosfera 2, and that's only happened in 2023, actually December 2022, which is the video that I will be talking about right after this one finishes. So their mission concentrated in digging trenches. These are some of the sites. They drove around and they moved around their container to several places. And by what I could get from them, they were there just for digging up ice. They dug trenches about 1.5 meters deep and started extracting ice. Nothing was said in any of the videos that I watched and researched anything about a 24-hour sun. Now, that's something that you would expect to hear. One of the researchers gave this interview.
Começando ali pelas 9 da manhã, aí tu cava uma trincheira, aí tu começa a furar. Aí tu vai até umas 10 da noite furando, né? Então tu para um pouquinho para comer um almoço ali pelas 3 da tarde, depois tu para às 10 da noite.
So that was interesting to hear that the routine was to start digging at 9 a.m., have lunch at around 3 p.m. and stop at around 10 p.m. So I checked the average time day in Ushuaia during that month at 17 hours of daylight. Sunrise at 4:52 a.m. and sunset at 10:04 p.m. So I was wondering why they were stopping their activities at 10 p.m. Of course they need some rest, but why not going forward and documenting the 24-hour sun, since they were there for 34 days? But you watch the video, not a mention, you go to the website, you read through pages and pages, trying to find anything about a supposed 24-hour sun, and you can find nothing. They were very excited to talk about little things about the amount of ice they dug, but nothing about a supposed 24-hour sun. That's one of the things that anyone would have to document if they were at that position out there in the south. So after watching the video, that's what I got. Nearly 35 days in Antarctica at 84 degrees south from December 17, 2011 to February 22nd, 2012. What is the footage of a 24-hour day in Antarctica? Why weren't they able to produce and show, look guys, the sun is going in a circle 360 degrees around our research station? No. Nearly 35 days in Antarctica with HT capability equipment and no 24-hour sun circling south of 84 degrees south in Antarctica. So why wouldn't they document this event if it's really something that very few people would have the chance of seeing? Whatever they can extract from the ice, it can be brought back to Brazil and studied. Many people see, but the 24-hour sun over the South Pole, it's something that you have to be there to see if that really exists. So along these 40 years of Brazilian military and research presence in Antarctica, not a single video, mention, an article, or anything about a supposed 24-hour sun circling south of their Antarctic installation can be found. As I said, they were supposed to open another research station in 2015, December. The same date, December 2015, up to end of January 2016. But that didn't happen. They were only able to open Criosfera 2 in 2022. So I also watched several videos, and they have an amount of hours of their presence in December when they arrived on December 7, 2022, up to January 17, 2023. About 40 days they spent, and nothing about the 24-hour sun. As we watch here, the container is different, it's more modern, and were not at 84 degrees south now. That's number one. This is at 79 degrees south, 78 west. Now I did find something, that's the temperature in Celsius, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. This is something that really bothered me, and I was researching, trying to find an answer for that. Right there you see the solar panels, and you see the shade on the other side. So my conclusion is that these solar panels, the whole container is facing east. I believe they want to get the most of the sun. So since the sun shines with no clouds, solar is hot when it first arises. So I believe they position this facing east to get the most of the sunrise. Now I consider this to be the front of the container. Look at the solar panels, and that's considered to be the back, where there is a door and a step ladder. You see the flags not so far from the container, and here the sun is probably facing east. And the thing is, like, I believe this is mobile, meaning they move around, because for 40 days they were there, they moved around, they did not stay in the same spot. Because the footage, and the whole footage that I found, all the documentaries that I watched, they don't seem to be in chronological order. They display the images according to the topic they were talking about. And this station is different from the first one. While the first one, they were just digging up for ice, this one, they were collecting air samples. And they were also checking the wind direction, and they confirmed the winds there to be of 200 miles per hour. It's about, I would say, noon. The sun was coming from the east, and now you see he's posing on the other side, the side of the door, facing the sunlight. Here you see the earlier when the sun was on the right, coming from the east, and now you see them posing for a picture in the back. So my conclusion is that the panels are really facing. My conclusion is that the panels were facing east, and now the sun is hitting them from the west. Went around 180 degrees, and you see the flags there. It's not too far away, but then you find some footage where you will see the flags really far away, or sometimes no flags at all. So as I said, I believe they moved this container around. Some of the scenes shows a tractor pulling this stuff. So I don't think all the footage follows a chronological order. So after watching this documentary, I could not find anything about the so-called 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So I had to move to the Brazilian Permanent Station, which is located in this place, South Shetland Islands, known as King George Island. That's the Brazilian Research Station. This is the permanent one. To arrive at this station, you need to sail from the south. You go around King George Island and approach the station from the south. So this is an aerial view of the Brazilian station called Commandant Ferraz. And this is actually a new station because the old one was burned. There was an accident there. They burned out the old containers. So they inaugurated a new one. So please pay attention that tree stump known as a mountain on the back. Okay, the station is facing south and you have the mountains in the back and the north. That's how you approach the station, coming by ship on the blue line or by helicopter on the yellow line. Two ways to arrive at the Brazilian Research Station. Coming from the south, you enter the bay by boat, or you fly from the Chilean base by helicopter. So in 2011, this lady, she's a journalist, and she said that she tried to visit the Brazilian station for 5 years. 5 years trying. And when they granted her permission, she still had to wait 2 years before she was able to visit the Brazilian Research Station. But what I want to show you is something that really interesting. She was filming her arrival at the Brazilian station. And at the moment she approached it, she remembered she was coming from the south because you have to go around and enter the bay from the south. And that's 8:45 p.m. and I'm gonna let her say, and then I'll talk again.
Oi, a gente está aqui na Baía do Almirantado, bem próximo da estação Comandante Ferraz, na Península Keller. E essa é uma das cenas mais bonitas que eu vi desde que eu cheguei aqui. É o entardecer na Antártida, é o pôr do sol da Antártida. São 8h45 da noite, aqui escurece bem mais tarde e é muito emocionante estar chegando aqui perto de onde fica a estação brasileira. A gente vê muitos glaciares. Estamos aqui no navio oceanográfico Rongel, onde a gente deve passar os próximos dias. É um dos 2 navios da Marinha que dão suporte ao Programa Antártico Brasileiro. A Península Keller é exatamente esse monte aqui, esse monte de pedra coberto por gelo que está aqui no centro do vídeo. É ali que fica a Estação Antártica Comandante Ferraz. A estação que o Brasil implantou nos anos 80 aqui na Antártida, que foi destruída por um incêndio há 7 anos e que agora ganhou uma nova sede. Essa estação que a gente vai conhecer e vai mostrar para vocês nos próximos dias.
So she approached the station as they were coming from the south. She was facing north, and she saw the sunset northwest from where she was. And that was February 19, 2019. She was facing north. The sun was clearly setting on the northwest side of the ship, which was facing north. The second video I want to display, it was made by a Brazilian Air Force officer stationed in this research station. Most of Brazilians military personnel serving there, they have to stay there for 1 year. So during this year, he documented, so he made some videos, and I wanna show them to you. His name is Wagner Lázaro Ribeiro Jr. This is his YouTube channel, where he uploaded a couple of his videos the time he was dead in 2017. The very first video I want to show you is this one he shot on May 29th, 2017. I will add the subtitles so you can hear him. Some people in the past told me to leave the person speaking, so they want to make sure that what I'm saying is what they are saying. So I decided to add subtitles, and you just listen to him explaining by himself and read along the subtitles.
9 horas da manhã, dia 29 de maio, e eu quero mostrar mais uma curiosidade aqui da Antártica para vocês. Tá vendo aí? Tá escuro, ainda é noite aqui. Ainda é noite. Ó, começa a clarear lá ao norte, mas só vai mesmo aparecer o sol lá para as 10 da manhã. Entendeu? Esse fenômeno é chamado de Middle Winter. E no meio do inverno mesmo, Middle Winter significa meio do inverno. E no meio mesmo do inverno, lá para junho, chegando a julho, vai começar a amanhecer mais tarde ainda. Começa a amanhecer lá para as 11 horas. E quando dá 4 horas da tarde já tá tudo escuro, já é noite. Entendeu? Isso é uma curiosidade aqui na Antártica, no inverno. Os dias são mais curtos e as noites são mais longas, né? Então, mais uma curiosidade que eu queria mostrar aí para vocês aí desse continente maravilhoso que deve ser preservado. Grande abraço, fiquem com Deus.
On May 29, 2017, he recorded this video explaining that they were at the start of midwinter, as they call it in Antarctica. He was explaining it was still nighttime, but the sun was already starting to appear at the horizon, and it would take another hour for them to have sunlight until about 4 p.m. They would have, like, from 10 until 4 p.m. they would have daytime. But let's move on to the next video that I found on his channel. He recorded at the June solstice, which is the North American summer solstice. He uploaded the video the following day, but he made the video at the day of the solstice on June 21st, 2017. So you know the globe model claims that at this day in Antarctica there's no light at all. It's a 24-hour days of darkness. No sun in Antarctica on June. But here he is contradicting this.
Olá, 21 de junho de 2017, primeiro dia de inverno no Brasil, e aqui na Antártica, onde só temos 2 estações, o verão que vai de outubro a abril e o inverno que vai de maio a setembro. Então hoje aqui na Antártica, estamos exatamente no meio do inverno. Também comemoramos o Dia do Antártico, ou seja, todo aquele ser humano que teve o privilégio de pisar em solo antártico, comemore esta grande oportunidade. Consequentemente, hoje é o dia mais escuro do ano aqui na Antártica. Tínhamos a previsão que o sol nascesse às 11 horas e se pusesse às 13. Mas como vocês podem observar aí, ó, hoje com menos 14 graus, muito vento, muita neve, sensação térmica aí de menos 30 graus, o sol nem apareceu. Hoje um dia típico aqui da Antártica, um dia maravilhoso, um dia para se comemorar. E eu queria mostrar para vocês mais essa grande curiosidade desse continente maravilhoso. Espero que gostem. Um grande abraço. Fiquem com Deus.
So there you have it. He says that on June 21st they do have sunlight. The reason they didn't have on this particular day because they had bad weather. But they normally on June 21st the sun rises at around 11 and sets just after 1 p.m. So they do have daylight in Antarctica on June 21st, which the globe model denies. So now let's look at this video. This is the last one from his channel that I want to take a look. That was shot a little bit earlier, in May.
Uma curiosidade aqui da Antártica é que o Sol, ele nasce no leste normal, né? Como em todo lugar, e ele morre no oeste. Só que aqui, devido à nossa posição geográfica, a gente está bem no Polo Sul. Vocês podem observar que ele vai nascer ali, ele vai correr e vai morrer atrás dessa montanha. Porque não é igual aí no Brasil, por exemplo, que ele passa, quando dá meio-dia, ele passa sobre as nossas cabeças, né? Aqui não, ele passa bem paralelo ali, ó. Então a gente consegue ver. É mais uma curiosidade aqui da Antártica. Bem legal aí mostrar pro pessoal, para vocês aí que de repente não tem oportunidade. Mas é uma curiosidade muito interessante. Tá? Grande abraço.
Now here you have him explaining that they are in midwinter in Antarctica. They face north and they see the sun scratching the horizon. And in his situation, he was explaining the sun rises northeast and sets behind the mountains. Now let's compare both footage from the Brazilian journalist when she was arriving in February 2019, and she documented the sun setting northwest, and let's compare to the footage by this Brazilian officer taken in May, where he also describes the sun setting northwest. Remember that arriving at the Brazilian station, they come from the south, and that's the tree stump that I told you guys, and they call a mountain. And when he describes the sun setting, that's the mountain right there. And those are the footage of both of them in Antarctica. The first one on the left, the lady, Luciana Garbin, taken February 19th, 2019 at 8:45 p.m. And the footage by Wagner Cunha, Sergeant Wagner Cunha, on May 21st, 2017 at 1 p.m. So the sun is right at the horizon, and he was explaining the sun was scratching the horizon. It was going to set just behind the mountain on northwest side. So he's not the first person that describes this movement of the sun, which we were going to look at right now. Back a couple of years ago, Antonio Subirats and Nathan Oakley was interviewing also someone who was stationed in Antarctica, and he describes the same thing, that in midwinter the sun scratches the horizon from east to west, and during the summer, Antarctic summer, it rises more towards them and becomes bigger. So here you have someone facing north from Antarctica, and that's what they describe.
We may never get this opportunity. Let's face it, you might be assassinated tomorrow. Can you go through what you have boiled down from your time in Antarctica?
Summer, sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, the sunrise, again, in the summertime the sun is a lot higher, and then in the wintertime it gets a lot lower, and obviously it's the lowness that's giving it the appearance of darkness kind of thing.
But if you would describe how the sun rises and sets, what the sun does in the
summertime, it does more of an arc, and in the wintertime it's even flatter, so you'd be kind of doing something similar to that, and then obviously summertime's more that.
Up and down on the horizon, it's not going round and around above your head in circles.
No, I just sit and looked at it thinking, oh look, the sun's spiraling above my head or something like that. Right. It did like a better 180 arc, not like a 360, so you see it move in and move out, so it wasn't just like straight across, but yeah.
So I tried to find footage of another Antarctica base. There is an Antarctica base on the other side of the Antarctic Circle, looking at the flat earth map, called Myrna. That's a Russian base. So I started looking for footage from them. I did find one online. I'm not sure if it was filmed at that base or not. But if you look, this is the Brazilian flag, is where they were both explaining the movement of the sun from east to west at the horizon, and this is the footage taken from the Russian bases. So I believe it's Myrna station on the other side. I cannot confirm that. I do not read Russian, I could not understand anything. But from there they see the moon circulating the flat earth coming from their east. Remember, they are in Antarctica, beyond the South Seas. And that's the moon circulating just as we see here in this animation. And then comes the sun, same direction, coming from the east to west. And that's the sun coming, same movement coming from east to west, but not above their heads. They have to look in front of them and they see the sun moving sideways. That was filmed on April 12, 2014. The final video that I have to present to you guys is from a commander, also Brazilian Navy commander in Antarctica. His name is Flávio Cruz. As I said, Brazilian officers are required to serve in the region for 1 year. And he also documented some of the things he saw while he was there, mostly to his family. A couple of them he made public. He comes from a very humble family, and he starts with a video in Antarctica where he displays the flag of his hometown and telling his friends there that he's proud to represent his city, and it's a very humble, small town, very humble people, and he made it. He joined the Brazilian Armed Forces, he climbed the ladder, and he was able to be one of the commanders in Antarctica for 1 year. So he is not a flat earther, but he shot a video interesting from a ship in Antarctica, and that's the video that I will show you right now. You can read along. I have added subtitles, and let's hear what he has to say.
Olá, meus amigos, nós estamos aqui exatamente meia-noite do dia 17 de janeiro de 2019, e aí é o sol da meia-noite que está acabando de se pôr e vai nascer novamente. O sol aqui na Antártica ele apenas raspa no horizonte. E como vocês vão ver agora, um fenômeno que só acontece nos polos da Terra, Polo Sul, Polo Norte. Olha que coisa interessante. De um lado nós temos o dia, eu vou virar para vocês verem que do outro lado nós temos a noite. Olha só. Do outro lado nós temos a noite. Que fenômeno interessante. Os terraplanistas gostam disso. Só acontece nos polos. De um lado o dia, do outro lado a noite. Perdoa, a imagem está tremendo, está muito frio. Então é isso. Hoje é quinta-feira, exatamente meia-noite de quinta-feira, do dia 17 de janeiro de 2019. De um lado tem a noite. E aqui eu vou inverter para vocês contemplarem. Do outro lado o dia, pôr do sol, aqui na Antártica, esse fenômeno sobrenatural, e aqui é o sol da meia-noite. Maravilha, poder estar contemplando esse fenômeno, essa coisa linda aqui na Antártica. O sol da meia-noite. E o fenômeno onde de um lado é dia e do outro lado é noite. Estamos navegando aqui no Estreito Antártico, no continente gelado.
All of these people described something that resembles the approaching of the sun in a convex way. Small and then becomes bigger and is approaching and then going back, coming from the northeast, approaching and then going back to the northwest. None of them described like what would be a concave sun path, proving or demonstrating that the sun is going in circles 360 degrees. None of them. The way they described it, their position or the sun, it's always a convex way, like the sun coming from northeast, approaching, becoming bigger, and then going back to the northwest. That's their description of the sun that I could find in the records that I searched. But as Dr. Afonso Vasconcelos, geophysicist and seismologist, he said something really interesting. He said, can they really call the globe a scientific model when they unilaterally impose it as the only model and at the same time close off the area below the 60th degrees south and block us from investigating the area by ourselves? So his point is that they declare a model and at the same time they do not allow us to investigate if the model is correct or not. So we will probably never know. We don't have access to Antarctica. Looking at some images of, for example, Operation High Jump, where they brought a whole military unit there, 5,000 soldiers, ships and tanks and airplanes and everything, and then closed off after Operation High Jump in 1957. Why aren't we able to actually go and check for ourselves, check the position of the stars? I would love to see those researchers, Criosfera 1, Criosfera 2, explaining the position of the stars, the sun, filming. No, all they give us is like they found a molecule trapped in an ice cube that they claim 50 million years ago. You know, that's not interesting. We want to see the sun and the stars. That's what we want to see. What mysteries do they have there? Is it possible that in 1957, in Operation High Jump, they found the dome, the end of it?
What do we know about Operation High Jump, about Admiral Byrd's expedition? It was a massive naval operation that involved an aircraft carrier, several battleships, an armed submarine, and probably another 20 supply and battleships. It involved 4,000 troops, US troops, and the rumor is that there were also British and Russian contingents within these 4,000 troops. It was a massive naval operation. It was not, as it has been presented to the public, that it was a peaceful expedition to explore the natural resources of the South Pole. But even more so, he found, to his amazement, that his planes were disappearing very quickly. A lot of his planes, a lot of them crashed into invisible barriers and disintegrated in mid-flight.
Later reports indicated that Admiral Byrd was given 8 months and unlimited funding to go in and pull this thing successfully off. But we also know that within 8 weeks he was totally defeated.
So we don't really know. They keep us giving us CGI and artist renditions of what's in Antarctica, and they show us videos of space and everything, but Antarctica, you never have a clear, let's call it satellite images like you would have like Google Earth, where you can have a street view or something similar from Antarctica. That's what we get from Antarctica.
They can't get data over Antarctica, which proves Antarctica is not a continent on the bottom of a spinning ball in space.
Going. So what are they hiding? So then you go down.
Of the Earth being flat. Here we have a NOAA satellites showing the world in real time, allegedly. This is your globe model, allegedly in real time. Let's show you some fakeness straight away. See these lines, vertical lines, white vertical lines. Yeah, they're going to be satellites going around the pretend globe Earth, and so they have to stitch up images. So in real time, we're seeing satellites whizzing around the Earth and stitching together these white lines. Oh no, what happened here? I don't know. Another real-time image of the Earth. This is what Globers call real-time image of the Earth. Now let me show you a very important 100% proof that the Earth is flat. Here's the North Pole. Yep. Now get ready. And here's your ice wall going around the entire Earth. And we get zigzag lines there. Yes, because of an elliptical orbit perhaps. And stitching together. But all of this is happening in real time. Please notice I'm being sarcastic. This is not real time. This is fake. And this is what they try to push as real images of the Earth every 10 minutes, every live. Whatever these Globers' excuses are, these are real images live of half the Earth at any one point in time.
Perhaps if all of us, I'm not talking about just flat earthers, I'm saying how humanity decide to go Antarctica from all sides, and perhaps we could find out what's going on. Mark Knight did say something about that back in 2015, and this is what happened to him.
This is where the Antarctica Treaty hang out. A bit of an ice wall surrounding the Earth there. A bit of a pyramid with a capstone cut off. So if you really want to go to Antarctica, you can only really go there from these 3 points, and it's completely controlled by a tourist operator, a pyramid system really, that links to the treaty, the countries in the treaty. Now I phoned them up and said, oh, me and my mates are super rich, we're going to go to Antarctica from India and Hawaii. And we got loads of money and we got all the kit, so we'll be there soon. And I got hammered with loads of emails saying, no you don't, where's your permit, fill out these forms, who are you? I mean, this place is locked down, for real. You can go there from these 3 places and you can look at some penguins, take a few photos and off you go. And it'll cost you 10 grand for the luxury.
So guys, that's what I have for today. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you look at my store, I do have a version of the distance map with some of the Antarctic bases. Of course, I don't have all of them. There are about 57 or 59 Antarctic bases, but I have the major ones highlighted on the map, their position according to their GPS, And the flags around represent the countries that really keep us within, going beyond the 60th parallel, which there is the red line. We have the unclaimed area of Antarctica. Nobody wants to set any research station there. We have Punto Nemo, where NASA buries rockets, and that's an interesting version of the Glisten's map. If you're interested, you can find this in my store. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and see you later. Bye bye.